Did you ever tell any officers at your house on May 21, 2016 that Johnny Depp had ever done anything wrong to you, that night or before?
You're asking me if I've told them?
If you told them on May 21, yes.
Right here.
Again, I said to them, I decline to give any statement at this time as per the advice of my counsel.
Wait,
and
guys,
by
wait.
uncooperative, does that mean that when you asked her a question, she wouldn't say a word?
She wouldn't say anything.
But just to be clear, you would ask questions and she wouldn't say anything?
Correct.
I am a detective with the Los Angeles Police Department,
Confirm right
and
here.
I am the department's domestic violence coordinator.
And how long have you been with the LAPD?
17 years.
I had asked a little earlier about when the victim is reluctant to press charges. If the patrol officers saw property damage or marks on the face of the victim, even if the victim was not cooperating and did not want to press charges,
Exactly.
what would the patrol officers' obligations be back in May 2016 on a domestic violence call?
If officers determined that there was domestic violence, even if a victim is reluctant, our policy is they still make that arrest if a suspect is there or take a report.
Now,
Right here.
I'm going to take you to May 21, 2016, and I'd like you to describe for the jury what took place that evening in connection with Mr. Depp.
Here we go. Confirmation, lie.
Johnny and I had not seen each other for the better part of a month, about a month. I was traveling. I had just shot a campaign in Italy. I spoke to him around that time when I was in Italy.
What?
I had gotten a phone. My parents got a hold of me. After I spoke to my parents, I communicated with Johnny. He, on that phone call,
By the way, guys, we're only one more follower away from our goal. If you can drop that, that'd be really cool. Thanks so much.
I didn't know what was going on with him for those weeks. With his sobriety, I didn't know where his state was. I didn't know what state he was in. And when I spoke to him, he was saying what I can only just... He was going on about scientists and DNA and feces.
Oh.
That he had some scientific analysis done and DNA analysis done, and that, as soon as I heard about this feces, he thought that was a prank, and he was going on about all the scientists that he had conferred about the DNA results with. I just thought he was out of his mind.
You shit on his bed.
Thought, clearly the drinking and the drugs are not getting better. Clearly the delusions aren't better. So I hung up from that phone call, assuming that, and we made a plan, Johnny and I, for him to come over. He said he really needed his wife. And he came over, and we sat on the couch, and at first it was relatively peaceful. And then he starts talking about the feces again, and this prank that he said one of my friends had left for him in my bed. And I tried to point out how that didn't make any sense. And my friends wouldn't do that. That's not something a bunch of 30-year-old women think is funny. What is he talking about? And he just kept going on and on about it. I called my friend thinking that it would prove that this didn't happen. We could move on and talk about the issues that we should be talking about. Our marriage was over and falling apart in front of our eyes. We hadn't seen each other for a month, and his mom had just passed. I couldn't believe he wanted to talk about feces.
What?
And I
Tell
said,
us who that person...
Io.
Io, tell it right?
Io, tell it right.
Okay. And then you put him on
Io, tell it
speakerphone
right.
with Johnny.
Right in front of Johnny.
Okay.
It just made Johnny madder. He got more upset, grabbed the phone, and started screaming at Io. He just started screaming at the top of his lungs, just screaming expletives, insulting names, screaming at him. It's best I can describe it without getting into the details. He tosses the phone, down on the couch and heads upstairs. I pick up the phone and try to, apologize for the fact that my husband at the time just screamed at my friend on a cold call. I didn't want Io to think that's why I had called Io. To just be screamed at and blamed for something that sounded crazy, for lack of a better explanation. It sounded crazy.
Thank you, Will.
Io said something to me on speakerphone, reminded me I wasn't safe. Io said, Amber, get out of the house. Get out of the house now. You're not safe. Get out of that house. Johnny hears this when he's on the stairs. He made it up one flight of stairs. Heard this, turned around, came bolting down the stairs, grabbed the phone from my hand, and really started screaming this time. Lit into Io, called Io every imaginable horrible name that you can say to a LGBTQIA person, for one, and any person, any human being ever. I mean, just screamed, you can have, you take her, you can have her. And he, with that, picks up, just pulls his arm back with the phone and throws it at my face.
What do you guys think about
this?
Hit
me right in my, it felt like my eye.
Bro,
I put my head in my hands and immediately start crying. I said, you hit me with the phone. Johnny, you hit me. And I'm sitting on the couch. I didn't even have time to react, I didn't even have time to put my hands up. I was still sitting cross-legged in my socks on the couch, and I haven't seen him for a month, and last, several times now that I've seen him, he's hit me, and I didn't even have time to react to this.
He
comes over to me as I'm crying, and he does that taunting thing to me. He says, oh yeah, I hit you, huh? I hit you, yeah? And he just feels like whacks me on top of my head. Just this heavy ringed hand landed on top of my skull, grabs me by the hair, yanks me up off the couch. I'm struggling to stand up. And I don't know if he was intending to hit me in the face or if he was just trying to grab my face, but he was making this gesture around my face to try to expose my face.
Look at Johnny. He's like, bro, you're full of shit.
To him, and he was like, yeah, let me see how bad I hurt you. Let me see it. Let me see how bad I hurt you this time. What if I pull your hair back? What if I pull your hair back? And he yanks my hair back. I'm trying to prevent him from landing the blows to my face. I'm trying to prevent my face from being exposed. And I just remember this mocking taunt he was doing with me as he is yanking me around the room. Raquel, my best friend at the time, who lived in the neighboring apartment.
Okay.
She came in, and Johnny moved towards her, and she ran towards me. Johnny looked at her, looked at me. I retreated to the only place I had to go, which is the corner room where the couch was. I retreated kind of to the couch, and Raquel and Johnny both ran up to me. Raquel got in front of Johnny. She kind of managed to get right in front of him, in between he and I. And I'll never forget it, just very slowly, calm, in just a very slow but very concentrated, very controlled, slow way, just put both of her arms, her hands up like this, and like I've seen people do with horses. That's what it reminded me of. She just went, no, Johnny, no. And she just got in front of us, in between us, put both of her palms out. Johnny kind of squared off to her, ran into her arms, and she just repeated herself very slowly, very calmly, very directly. He hit both of her arms off of his chest like that and barreled towards me. I instinctively curl up on the couch, and I just feel her arms come around me, next to me. She was sitting on my left next to me on the couch, and I just feel her arms around me. And I'm just looking down at the carpet, feeling her arms. And that's when Johnny, who I can see partially and hear, is right in front of me, and he's screaming at me. The next thing I hear is, boss, boss. And I realize that his 2 security guards had come into the apartment after Raquel. I see them and hear them, and Johnny turns to them, and I see Jerry say, boss, boss.
Boss.
And I get up off the couch and I say to Jerry,
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Not offered to prove the truth of the matter asserted at all.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right.
Next one.
So
Sorry.
don't tell us what you said to Jerry, just what happened next.
What?
then
think?
they tell him something. And he picks up the bottle that I guess he walked in with.
Guys, we're 2 followers away from hitting the goal. Please join the family. Thank you so much.
It was
This is
Magnum.
Mr. Depp or Jerry?
I'm sorry, Johnny.
Okay.
And starts smashing things off the nightstand, the coffee table, starts screaming, and they kind of, I feel them kind of corral him. I'm not making direct eye contact, but I can kind of just sense and feel and sound and hear things smashing as he exits the apartment, kind of knocking things off the countertops and breaking things on the way. I realize he's punching something. I assume it was the picture because it broke right after he walked past it.
You guys are funny.
And he leaves that apartment. I hear him in the hallway, still screaming. I hear more doors opening, more racket. Eventually, Josh, Raquel's husband, comes into the room and brings me to safety, brings Raquel and I to safety in their apartment. And that's where I stayed for the next few hours.
Did you see anything that indicated a crime?
I did not.
No, she did not. Did
Up
not.
until the point where you knocked on that door.
She didn't.
Did you see or hear or witness anything indicating that there had been a domestic violence perpetrated?
I did not.
Detective.
Up until you knocked on that door, did you see anything which you would have considered out of the ordinary?
I did not.
Wow.
And at that time, did you notice any injuries on Miss Heard?
I did not.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
Were you looking to see if she had any injuries at that time?
Yes, I was.
And so you were looking to see if Miss Heard had any injuries, and you determined that she did not. Is that accurate?
Correct.
Did the
They
police?
did make a comment to
Here we
me
go.
about it seeming unsafe. That's why they needed to check the apartment. They made a gesture to my face. They said that I looked hurt. They also pulled me aside and said, look, just say a statement. We can make sure you're safe. Just say a statement or give us a statement and we'll go get the guy.
After the protective sweep, I asked her again if she wanted to talk to me, if anything happened.
That was proof that she lied. I mean, the detective, the actual officer that was there, confirmed it.
But I asked her questions to establish if there was some sort of crime, who was involved, and again, she wouldn't give me any information. I attempted to ask her friend, the other woman in the room. I even asked the males to wait in the hallway so it could just be us women in there so we could talk privately. Maybe she felt more comfortable that way. Still, they denied that there was any crime. They wouldn't answer any specific questions. So I wrote a business card. I advised her if she changed her mind that she could call us at any time and we would respond and help her out.
If a police officer responding to domestic violence call sees injury, regardless of whether the victim cooperates, what is the police officer's obligation? This is as of May 2016.
Oh.
to do an investigation to determine if that injury was a result of a crime.
Oh shit.
And that investigation would include what?
It would include interviewing anyone that is at scene, seeing if there's any type of physical evidence of altercation, or depending on the story that was given, if there's corroboration of that, seeing if there's any witnesses.
During the protective sweep of the first penthouse, did you see anything that led you to believe that a crime had been committed?
I did not.
During the protective sweep of the first penthouse, did you hear anything that made you think a crime had been committed?
Confirmed.
I didn't know that she could call us back if she wanted to talk.
Did she answer any of your questions?
No, she did not.
Oh.
At any point in time during the entirety of the incident, did Ms. Hurd answer any of your questions?
No, she did not.
During the entire time of the incident, did Ms. Hurd complain of any injuries?
No, she did not.
Case closed.
During the entirety of your time at the incident, did anybody say anything that made you believe a crime had been committed?
No, they did not.
Oh my God.
Did you observe anything that led you to believe that she was a victim of domestic violence?
I did not.
Is it your testimony that a police officer on May 21 told you that it appeared you looked hurt?
He or she gestured, I can't remember which one, to my face and said, we can tell you've been hurt or you don't look good or something to that effect, but I don't remember the exact.
She's lying!
But something to that effect?
Yeah.
What, if any, policies, procedures, and protocols are in place at the LAPD for domestic violence?
So once we determine there is domestic violence, we have to determine whether there is a crime. Every time we respond to a domestic violence call, per state law, we need to document whether it's a crime or just an incident, which would be when there is not a crime, but there's still paperwork done. So that is part of the officer's investigation.
I'm going to show you the incident call here, and it goes down and it has domestic dispute, and then it says, met with victim, looks like check location, verified husband left, victim advised verbal dispute, and refused to give any further information, issued business card. Do you see that?
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is live.
May of 2016, if we look at this, and we start out on the left-hand column, and it has a number of different observations to make of the victim. And it includes shaking, unresponsive, crying, scared, angry, fearful. All right, are these typically characteristics of victims of domestic violence?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to turn your direction to the crime scene now. And the same question, there's a number of different items on here, including location, vandalized, ransacked, and personal property damage, furniture disarray, broken. What is your understanding of why these are included on this list?
My understanding is that these are things that are typically at a crime scene or can occur. So
exactly
things that we want officers to look for and mark when they take the crime report.
Yeah.
Is there a scenario under which the patrol officers decide that there's no crime, but they see property damage and injury and take photographs?
I mean, every situation is different. I believe one way, if we have a situation like that occurred, then there should be a domestic violence incident report. So there is a place to document your observations and statements from people, and a reason to have those photographs.
Even if ultimately the officers determined that it wasn't a crime.
Wow.
And yes, that's why domestic violence incident reports are reports where there are no crime, and that is why we have them, so we can document and have a history of calls and see, in case there is another call in the future, that there is prior history of any type of domestic call, even if it was not ultimately ruled a crime.
Guys, pay attention. This is really important. Detective is confirming this, okay? So listen.
So the purpose of domestic violence incident reports were to record when officers responded to a call of domestic violence that did not result in a crime. They are actually required by state law for us to document every domestic violence incident that we respond to. We would take it on, but you fill out the information. You just do not list a suspect because we have no crime. It's the victim who was in fear that the other party may cause some type of danger to them, and that other party is then listed as a witness.
Do officers at some point have to make a determination as to whether domestic violence has occurred?
Yes, they do.
Exactly.
Okay. What criteria do officers use to make that evaluation?
They use the interviews with the parties that are there.
Yeah.
What they observe at the scene, even what they observe, like the demeanor of the victims and the suspects.
Can you just generally describe for me the circumstances under which a domestic incident report is used?
Why is she smiling?
Oh, we take a incident report when we determine there is no crime, but that one of the parties is in fear that either their life was in danger or they could be a victim of some type of serious bodily injury. And so I think the third incident you would have, or where we don't take the incident report, is where both parties state it was an argument, there was no physical injury, both parties say we weren't afraid that the other was going to do any type of harm to me.
When confronted with a person who's unwilling to make a statement, is there much that a police officer can really do if you have somebody who just refuses to make a statement and refuses to indicate that they have suffered violent abuse?
Huh.
It's not too much. Usually we teach them to talk about the cycle of violence and power and control, and see if we can, start a rapport with the victim and get them to discuss. But if they really don't want to tell us what happened, we can't force them.
Exactly. And
If
and Amber didn't want to, but she said that she did, and she said that the police officer also said that she looked hurt and whatever, but she confirmed it.
Potential victim has visible injuries, or that there are indications at the scene that there has been some sort of violent episode, does the fact that the potential victim declines to make a statement mean that the officers can't go forward?
No, not necessarily, because they would need to investigate more, but you do have the visible injury and, evidence of some type of struggle. So they would need to try to get that probable cause to determine that it was a crime that created that injury.
Wow.
If one of the other witnesses took the officers through the entire...
Guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that. If you guys don't know, we got editors, we got people compiling this, and together we're looking into the key moments and parts of the trial, guys. And I want to know your guys' thoughts. We got like 1 day left, guys. Everyone's excited for the verdicts, and I want you guys to tell me your thoughts. If you haven't already, make sure you join the family. All right, tap right here on the video. follow, and make sure you drop the bell on and drop those reactions. I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and I am excited to bring you guys the content. I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys. Have a beautiful night, evening, whatever it is for you guys, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Love y'all and peace.